How is the startup ecosystem there, and how is the entrepreneurial ecosystem there in Uttar Pradesh, and what TiE is doing under your leadership to flourish both of them more?
So my vision for Uttar Pradesh is to stop being seen as emerging ecosystem and start being counted as core one in same breath as Bangalore, NCR, Delhi, Mumbai.
Every thriving startup ecosystem is built on more than capital. It is built on mentorship, leadership, and a community that helps founders succeed. Dr. Rao Vikram Singh has spent over 2 decades across banking, wealth management, entrepreneurship, mentoring, and social impact. From HDFC Bank, ICICI, and Reliance Capital to building advisory businesses and mentoring entrepreneurs, his journey bridges the corporate leadership with grassroots development. Today, he serves as the president of TiE Uttar Pradesh, where he is helping shape one of the India's fastest growing startup ecosystem by connecting founders with mentors, investors, and opportunities. Beyond business, Dr. Singh believes entrepreneurship is the ultimate about creating value for the society, a philosophy shaped by his doctorate in sociology and his work in rural development. And we are going to talk all about that. Today, we are going to talking about entrepreneurship, the right of Uttar Pradesh as a startup hub, mentorship, founder mindset, and how strong ecosystem creates successful companies. Welcome to the show, Dr. Vikram Singh ji.
Thank you, Anshuman sir. It is great interacting with you. It is really pleasure. मतलब देर आए दुरुस्त आए. I've always been listening to your podcast and series. I always felt that what kind of good people do come on your podcast. Now I think I'm in the same league. I'm blessed that I am there. Let's start the discussion and add value to the ecosystem.
Sure. Thank you so much. So you have worked in banking, wealth management, entrepreneurship, and now ecosystem building. What inspired your transition from corporate leadership to the mentoring entrepreneurs?
It was not really a single moment of transition, it was a gradual realization. In banking, wealth management, you spend days helping people across world. But over a time, I noticed that businesses which truly succeeded were not only with needing capital, they were needing mentorship, hand holding, guidance, networking. It was all there. In my organization, I sat across lots and lots of the table in which founders were there. But only issue they felt was what to do, to ask certain good questions, meet new people. So then I realized it's not only built on capital, we need networking, we need people. Hence, I was motivated to come out of the system, create an ecosystem in which can add value to anybody and everybody who has an access to that database.
Great. So looking back, Dr. Rao, what has been the biggest lesson from your entrepreneurial journey that has taught you?
I feel resilience is a skill. That skill all the people should have. Great resilience. कौन क्या कहेगा क्या नहीं करेगा अगर वो हम सोचते रहेंगे पूरे टाइम तो काम नहीं बनेगा. So when I
Ji.
started, when I was in organization, when I decided to exit, so I was lucky that my parents were there to support, my spouse was there to support, that okay, take the leap and do something. There were so many colleagues with me, still they are in stuck in the system, they want to move out but they cannot. So you have to be a little cautious how you are doing, what is your skill set, how you can capitalize on the skill set. Then right networking is needed. Then I also met a lot of people across. So when you see that there is something what can be done and somebody has already done that, so you get enough motivation. And then again, as I said, resilience. You have to have passion, faith in what you can do, what you want to do. And once you bridge that gap between what you want to do and what you are doing, you take the leap and success is inevitable.
So, Dr. Saab, you often speak about values and purpose. In today's competitive world, how can a founder stay true to their principles while building successful businesses?
So value, actually, if we take concept of sociology and psychology, so values is something created. God has not given any values. We don't have any. thing which specify that this is the right or this is the wrong. Like in the jungle world, everything is right. Survival of the fittest is there. But since we are human, we have to understand the values. We should not hurt anybody. But in the business, it cannot go. We have to do anything good enough within the legal boundaries to add value to our business. So you meet new people, you access the database, you do competitive understanding, you do competitive bidding, you understand, you do backward integration, you do forward integration. But only thing is that value what has been given by society and the family to you, that should not leave the base, else everything is good and across. Once you are successful, in many cases it has been seen that people who have higher moral values, and sometimes they are not strong enough to cross, and hence they take uh, excuse of moral ki this was not correct, hence I did not do this. Once the people are there, you take the step, and success is there. But you
Yeah,
have to
so,
understand,
G. Yeah, keep going, please.
integrity should not be at question. So anybody who's with you, for you, your client, your vendor, your system, your associate, your colleague, growth has to be inclusive of all, and there should not be intentional harm to anybody in the business.
Right. So true. I have a very close relationship with sociology. My mother is a PhD and a delete in sociology. She was the principal of Magad Mahila College in Bihar, Patna, from Patna University. And both my elder sister, they have done PhDs in sociology. One of
Oh,
them is a
great!
professor in Bhagalpur. So really, I have seen, and my mother produced about 22 PhDs under her
Oh, great, great!
guidance. And she has written books on sociology, and she was the examiner at UPSC also for the interviews
Oh,
and all.
brilliant.
So, so I have seen in my house and sociology, action sociology, and all those things. So,
So
really very
sociology is
close, it
such an
starts there.
interesting subject. The people who are part of sociological world, they understand it. It it gives you enough so deep knowledge at how people think, what how society performs, why did this monogamy, polygamy structure came into society, why did it break down, how religion has impacted the society. It is such a wonderful topic. I when I do take classes in different engineering institutes and other management institutes, I do
Ji.
sincerely request all the students to at least brush up few things of sociology, psychology, just to understand, because anything what we are doing is for society, for the humans. You make a pen, it is also used by human. You make a car, you make anything which is for society, it has good or bad impact on the society. So if we have a detailed understanding of social knowledge, it adds immense value to anybody and everybody.
Right, so true. So in this segment, Dr. Saab, we are going to talk about TiE Uttar Pradesh and the startup ecosystem in Uttar Pradesh. So you are the president of TiE Uttar Pradesh. How is the startup ecosystem there, and how is the entrepreneurial ecosystem there in Uttar Pradesh, and what TiE is doing under your leadership to flourish both of them more?
So my vision for Uttar Pradesh is to stop being seen as emerging ecosystem and start being counted as core one in same breath as Bangalore, NCR, Delhi, Mumbai, but with own character. So you, if you see Kanpur, Lucknow, and other places, Kanpur is one of the prime and one of the first industrial city of the Kanpur. It was called Manchester of the East. So it is in the fabric of the people to understand the entrepreneurship. So a great kind of startups are coming up, but because of different systems which were not there, ecosystem not being there, so hence there were some issues. So in my leadership position at TiE, we are trying to build up that ecosystem, doing tie-ups with IIT, meeting government officials, getting the required fund directed to our group. Like in February, we did a TiECon. It was a great successful event. Now we are creating with Kanpur University, we are trying to do something with an inclusive ecosystem incubation kind of thing, in which all kinds of people may come and create a business. So Uttar Pradesh in whole is happening. Gorakhpur is coming fantastic as an hub. Varanasi is there. So things are happening, but we understand that once it gets slowed in some time, it takes a little time to start again. So over next 5 years, I want TiE-UP to be connective tissue that turns the raw material into structured outcomes, meeting more founders, meeting right mentors, bridging the gap, giving them enough knowledge so they don't do mistakes. Obviously mistakes will happen, but if it can be avoided, we should not do same mistakes again and again. So like Kanpur, Lucknow, Noida, Varanasi, Gorakhpur, all will be producing fantastic startups, not just a state capital, or not just Bangalore and New Delhi. Kanpur will come and UP will come, as is there in fact.
Great, great. So Uttar Pradesh has emerged as one of the India's fastest growing startup ecosystem in the northern India. What what is the driving this transformation? Obviously IIT, one of the largest and the oldest IIT, IIT Kanpur was there. Uh, Great technical people coming out from there. It is a very big state. Agriculture and manufacturing is big. But now the startup ecosystem is happening in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Odisha. What do you think? What your thoughts are? Why this transformation?
I'll give my answer in a little with little flair of sociology and psychology. So, taking as a example of good parenting. So, if you take an plant in which is not flowering for any reason, what as a gardener will do? He or she will try to remove the obstacles. If sunlight is not there, we'll place the this plant in some that direction in which gets enough
Mhm.
sunlight. If water is not there, weed is there, some nutrition is needed, proper watering is needed, or shade is needed. So once we understand that if we can remove the obstacles, the growth will happen automatically without getting into political domain or what government earlier did, what currently is doing. Now we can simply see that the institution which addresses infrastructural issues, capital issues, and other issues which are larger issues of a state are being addressed. There is a Invest UP, Start in UP, different organization, variety of schemes are there. So if you just have a good idea, like we see when we were in schooling, I'm sure when you were in the school as well, there was nothing called startup. There was no
Mhm.
business. If you might have any fantastic idea, but there was no system which will give you some 100 rupees to start up the business. Now if you have
Right.
some fantastic idea, organization like TiE, organization, other institution, venture capitalists, banking, wealth management groups are there. So that all ecosystem is being developed. The current bureaucratic regime and government regime and institutions like TiE and other organizations are removing the obstacles, and this growth is happening automatically. So esteemed people like you, me, anybody who can add value and remove the obstacles, the journey would be smooth, and it is happening, and we can see it is happening across.
What industries or sectors do you believe will produce the next generation of successful startups from Uttar Pradesh? So, industries or sectors?
Right. So if we see Uttar Pradesh, it was majorly an industrial city because of capital wealth, but core is agriculture. So agri tech startups are doing, they are doing fantastic. It has good water system, this fertile land. So agri businesses are doing good. Then again, because of these fantastic institutions which add value to our state, like IIT Kanpur, then other institutions, then HBTI, then Motilal Nehru Institute, there Sugar Institute. There is a fantastic sugar research institute in Kanpur, then Biotech Institute in Lucknow. So there is an ecosystem which is happening. But I feel innovation is also there. So the something in biotech, agri-tech are happening more. Now in IIT, in last week I was there for some work. So they are doing fantastic work on medtech, and space tech is also happening. So I am not sure that which sector will come up, but enough thing are happening in all the sectors. Rest is in God's hand and entrepreneurs' hand to develop something good for humankind.
Great, great. So, in this section, Dr. Saab, we are going to talk about mentorship and advisory. You have mentored entrepreneurs across different stages. What are the three biggest mistakes first time founders make?
Okay, so there are a lot of mistakes what seasoned investors like us, like you, everybody does. But there is a we can easily drop down to two or three things what startup new founders do help confusing the product with the business. I'd
G.
like to elaborate on that. So they feel that they have made a product which is very fantastic, but business and a product is entirely different thing. So you have to create business in and around the product. So innovation happens in the
Mhm.
product, but you have to make business. So sometimes there are so many innovators, they feel they have made us such a fantastic product, it will happen, sales will happen automatically, client will come automatically, but that doesn't happen. So there has to be clear. This is part of people like us, the mentors and the college institution with students are there to give them a detailed understanding that business is entirely different class, product is one part of it. Now, second, getting early into funding kind of thing. So, because it is easy. So, if it is easy, people tend to get access. Once the fund is there, so the great losers. And then misappropriation of funds happen. You tend to save less. Then, in sometimes it becomes pressure on an entrepreneur to generate alpha for the investor, and then it becomes derailed in due course of time. It has been seen. Then, third point, we can see treating mentorship and advice as one-time event rather than ongoing relationship. And it is also over the counter kind of advice. So people, so many students, so many entrepreneurs might be coming to you and to me, and they want specific answers. Sir, ये कैसे कर सकते हैं? But it is not a one-time thing. You have to have good mentors for lifetime. Like in Bhagavad Gita, the role of Krishna to create in Mahabharata is great. So if you even take Lord Krishna out of Mahabharata and equation for 10 minutes also, the entire story collapses. So the use of mentor, the guidance, the value they give is immense, and it should be an ongoing relationship with the founders and mentors.
Yeah, so you touched upon it that many founders raises from day one, and it is easy to raise funds in India with the government grants and all those things. Let's elaborate on that. I am also a firm believer, Dr. Saab, that the founders should not raise till the time they really need to raise, and the raise capital should not be for founders' livelihood. It should be for growth of the company. What are your thoughts on that? When it is a
Yes,
good
surely.
time for a founder to raise?
So again, raising is one part of the system, but nowadays
Mhm.
because it is easily accessible, it is kind of a low hanging fruit. So there are certain people which we have seen, they are creating the business to get the funding. It's not to funding, as you rightly said, it should be the growth phase, not for day to day working or individual finances of the founder. But when it is easily available, like we see vices in the society, as a normal human being, we also, there are major people who tend to submit to those vices because it is easily available. So we have to, and in here comes the role of mentors, guides, teachers, parents, to give them a broader understanding that once you create a good system, funding will automatically come. So funding should not be the only objective. So they should have a restraint on the funding, only take funding once the structure is complete, their trial and error is done, they are strong enough, they feel that yes, now things are strong, now this model is scalable, it is repeatable, you can apply it in different aspects, then they should enter into funding.
Great. So, through your advisory work, Doctor, what qualities separates a founder who built lasting businesses from the ones who will keep struggling in their startup journey? The qualities of a founder, which you feel through your advisory work and through your mentorship work, is a sure shot thing that this is going to be a great company.
So, if I take a word to summarize this concept, that would be coachability. So the person should, the startup, the founder should be coachable. Let me give you another chemical example, that why products of steel are better than iron. Because the errors or the gaps what iron has been removed, few things have been added, now it becomes into a steel. It is more strength, life is there, rust is not there. But if iron is hard enough not to absorb all those things and become steel, it will not become it. The rust will decay in very small time. So the coachability is very important aspect, that any knowledge which is available to the startup founder, they should be able to absorb it, implement it, be good enough to ask and go back to the founder, sorry, to their mentor, and ask them, sir ये गलती हुई कैसे सुधारेंगे, या ऐसा हो रहा है तो क्या कर सकते हैं. So, and the mentor, and they should be good enough to absorb the values given. Like बॉडी बिल्डर का एक्सरसाइज तभी बनेगा जब वो एक्सरसाइज करेगा, दर्द होएगा, लेकिन वो एक्सरसाइज आपको करनी पड़ेगी. जब आपका मसल स्ट्रेंथ के लिए तैयार होगा तभी वो मसल बिल्डिंग होगी. फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी चाहिए, देन कोचबिलिटी. Second important aspect, if I tell you, I would like to say financial discipline. Continuing to the earlier question, if they don't have enough discipline of finance, they tend to lose the grip on the system. So if they might give enough losses to the business, so they are not able to sustain, hence then they go to the funding agencies or any organization funding the project. Then the pressure comes कि अभी वो फंड कर लिया है, अब उसको अल्फा चाहिए, वैल्यू करो, सेकंड सीरीज में जाओ. तो अगर फाइनेंशियल डिसिप्लिन नहीं है तो वो एक स्ट्रक्चर दैट बिकम्स कैसल ऑफ प्लेइंग कार्ड्स टेंड टू fall at any point of time. And in third, I like to say they should be able to create a value in the system. Then perseverance, great, there are so many things which can be done, but वो करते ही रहना है, थकना नहीं है. क्योंकि आप पहली बार कर रहे हो तो आपको ही नहीं मालूम है आप सही कर रहे हो कि गलत कर रहे हो. तो करते रहो, गाइडेंस लेते रहें, फाइनेंशियल डिसिप्लिन मेंटेन करते रहें, डोंट लूज द फोकस, कीप ऑन डूइंग एंड कीप
Call
ऑन डूइंग.
from unknown.
Right, right. So true. How to find a good mentor?
That is a fantastic question. So it is kind of an diagnostic question. You should do self understanding and what you lack in. If you feel, everybody knows what they lack in. This is a clear thought. कोई बहुत कम लोग हैं जो कंफ्यूज्ड हैं कि क्या चीज उनको नहीं आती. अब वो एक्नॉलेज नहीं करेंगे, वो एक अलग बात है, लेकिन सबको बहुत अच्छे से पता होता है कि कौन सी चीज में उनकी कमी है. सो फाइंडिंग अ राइट मेंटोर, बिकॉज देर इज अ अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ मेंटोर. So there are typically three kind of people available. One, I say category is opinion. तो अभी ओपिनियन तो कोई भी दे सकता है. वी सी दैट व्हेन द क्रिकेट मैच इज गोइंग ऑन, दैट पान शॉप ओनर आल्सो सेज कि अरे यार ये वाला हुक करके खेलना चाहिए था. तो द पान शॉप ओनर इज आल्सो गिव यू एन ओपिनियन हाउ सचिन तेंदुलकर, एम एस धोनी, और द करेंट रघुवंशी, दैट द लेटेस्ट हार्ट थ्रॉब ऑफ क्रिकेट, वैभव सूर्यवंशी इज डूइंग. सो एवरीबडी इज रेडी टू गिव ओपिनियन. So people should refrain from people, the founder should refrain from people who are giving opinion. Then second is called suggestion. So suggestion is something the people have some idea. Like there are few people who play cricket on the ground, they have some idea, they do something, some relevance to the cricket, they have some founding experiment is there, some businessman he has done something, so he has some suggestive values. So they might be good suggestion, they might be bad suggestion, they might be from his experience or other experiences, but yes, he is connected somewhat to the problem you are finding a solution with. So that is suggestion, but still it holds less value because there is no formal arrangement of understanding. Then comes the concept which is called advice. Advice comes from a professional guy. So doctors advise, lawyers advise, professional advice. So somebody who has the say, who has an understanding, he might have an academic understanding or actual business understanding, but you have to find out that people who are in capacity of giving advice, one should go there. and immediately they should offer some gratitude to the person who they are seeking advice with. For example, if somebody comes to you or comes to me, he opens up a question, we are good people, will give them advice of whatever capacity we have. Everybody has a limited
Mhm.
knowledge, so with my limited knowledge and understanding, I'll give best of the advice. But once that student, that founder goes off from my place, that idea also leaves my head. But if we have some formal arrangement with that फाउंडर, आई ऑल्सो कीप
Right.
इन माइंड कि ये सच्चा यार, वो एक आया था उसको ये प्रॉब्लम थी, इससे मिला सकते हैं, उससे मिला सकते हैं. Once there is a formal understanding between mentor and founder, that becomes a long term give and take relationship. And in due course of time you will understand the values, कि कोई डांट रहा है तो आपके फेवर के लिए डांट रहा है. तो अगर वो, हमको अच्छा मेंटोर चाहिए, हमको वो अच्छा लगता है, इसलिए जरूरी नहीं है, उसका अच्छा होना जरूरी है. दैट इज वन वे टू अंडरस्टैंड.
Mhm. No, I really liked it. Opinion, suggestion, and advice. And the advice is the one. So I'm going to use that in one of my LinkedIn articles pretty soon. So today's founders face constant uncertainty and pressure. What practical advice would you give them to stay resilient during the difficult times?
So I read in some article, some book, I don't remember. So there is a concept of 18-hour work kind of thing. So what I will do in next 18 hours. So if we can prioritize our work, so we have a 10-year plan, 5-year plan, 7-year plan, 3-year plan, 4-week plan, annual plan, and what we do at end of the year, what we do, there is a common statement we say, new year resolution. So we do everything
New
for
resolution.
a longer period of time. I say if we can reduce that time frame to 18 hours, that what I will do in next 18 hours, that helps. So just an example, I write everything just for simpler understanding. So just for audience, I write everything, what has to be done on what day, what I'll do by tomorrow, what I'll do by डे, मतलब अगले 18 घंटे की साइकिल एक मेंटेन होनी चाहिए कि हम क्या काम करेंगे. तो उस तरीके से
Same
आपको.
thing here, sir. Same thing here.
So that is there. One more very interesting concept I read somewhere, I regularly use it in my coaching, that you are the sixth person. It is a very unique concept. You are the sixth person means that with any five people you are, you will become similar sixth. If they are wasting time, in due course of time you'll also become time waster. If they are alcoholic, you'll also be doing alcoholic in some time. So any people you are with, you are the sixth. So finding out those five people who have a great understanding, similar values kind of thing. And similar context, there is a sub context to it, that if you are smartest person in the room, we have seen it many times, then you should immediately leave the room, or at least spend less time in that room and shift to the room in which you are the last or at least second last, so you have something to gather on. Then again, one more idea extending this similar concept, they say that if you get enough 3 4 people who are already successful and in later years of life, so they have so much knowledge and they are ready to give. So be there when shower is there, take a bigger bucket, not a thimble, and collect the knowledge.
So, Dr. Saab, you have worked with entrepreneurs across India. What mindset shift do founders need to make to build global competitive companies from India?
So I was doing some session at some MBA college. So I curated a program in similar lines: make in India or make for the world. अभी हमको ये समझना पड़ेगा that these two are entirely different things. If you are making in India, it is fantastic thing. So is it for only Indian consumption? Because regulations are different. So your mindset should be fixed that what you want to do. अगर ग्लोबल कंपनी में मेरे को कंपटीशन ग्लोबल है, so then we have to think with the concept made for globe. Different rules, different approvals, different concepts, different timelines. different expectations, cultural differences. We have to imbibe all these things in our business. Or if you are making just for India, you curate that. So mindset which has to be shift, the biggest shift is in moving good enough kind of thing. अभी क्या है कि बहुत लोग हैं कि ठीक है अच्छा तो कर रहे हैं, बट इन अगेन वही चीज, विदाउट स्टेटिंग नेम बिकॉज देर आर कपल ऑफ फेलियर्स इन आवर इंडस्ट्री एज वेल, कि उन्होंने प्रोडक्ट नहीं बना पाए और मार्केटिंग तेज कर दी. तो पीपल आर गोइंग टू द प्लेसेस टू फाइंड आउट दैट प्रोडक्ट, but product is not available. So there has to be a sync in what you are making, what is the timeline, what is the market availability of the product. So that has to be there.
Hmm.
That shift in the mindset has to happen. The founders who make mental shift early tend to do things differently. कि अगर उन्होंने डे वन पे समझ लिया कि हमको क्या करना है, टाइमलाइंस मेरे क्या हैं, we can easily say see the Apple founder. So fantastic. Everything was timing. There were other gadgets which were there. We see example of BlackBerry. So they were not ready to accept the latest technology. So I think
Yeah.
I'm sure you might have used BlackBerry. So once they came up with the corporate email availability near the gadgets, that became मतलब heartthrob. जिसके पास होता था वो लगता था कि मतलब something different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
It
when
was
they
a status symbol.
it was a status symbol. Now, when this did not allow Android apps to come in their system, because WhatsApp is extended version of BlackBerry Messenger. अभी BlackBerry
Hmm. Hmm.
मतलब क्या, जब BBM का जो मैसेज आता था, that was a class at that point of time, but they were not ready to give space to Android apps. They said we'll use only our operating system and we see what has happened. So
Hmm.
they have to understand that founders should have a global mindset. Whatever is happening, we should absorb all those things.
Yeah, yeah, great. So let's talk about TiE Uttar Pradesh now. What initiative in TiE Uttar Pradesh you are taking to support the founders, investors, and the innovators?
So we do a couple of global part of which are part of global programs, and we do something of our own. So we have been doing TYE. I'm sure you are aware. You have been doing it in your
Yes.
chapter also. So because of availability of IIT here, we do have tie up with IIT people. So the knowledge which we are sharing with the students in the class 9, 10th, 11th, 12th, so they get enough understanding and exposure. So in the IIT we have a tie up for prototyping. Fantastic faculties are there, people are there, classes run. Then we on the second stage, when the mentorship happens, different entrepreneurs are there to guide. So that TY program is very good, and it has added immense value to the system. The students, uh, as in any competition, somebody will win and somebody will lose, but I've seen unique concept in TYE that everybody wins. Might not win something at that moment financially or as a certificate wise or as a title wise, but anybody who walks in into a TYE programs and the student which walks out. I've been associated with program for last actively associated for last about 9-10 years, talking with the parents. So parents are really, really thankful. They say the student, the kid, what I gave you and the student you gave me back is entirely different. So they become analyst. They analyze the product. ये ऐसा क्यों है? Why is it of this color? This should be that color. So the discussion in the family shift from regular discussion to the entrepreneurship things. So that value has added enough. Now we because we have to add value to our members also, we do a lot of programs with our members. As a Tycon is also a flagship program, we have done it for after a little late time. Now we are starting to reach the smaller organizations, the smaller places, the tier 3 or the periphery of the city. We are doing some programs there also, giving lectures, helping them in marketing, doing some digital crowd work kind of thing. So that all is happening.
Right, great. Thank you so much for your defining what TiE is doing and how it is helping the local startup ecosystem. So in this segment, Doxa, we do some brutal truth with your experience and going back to your opinion, suggestion, and advice. So I am now seeking advice, some general advice for our entrepreneurs. If you could give one piece of advice to every entrepreneur starting a business today, what would it be?
I think take failure as a lesson. I'll also, not just for the founders or startup students or kind of thing, I'll add parent to the part. Parent should be the party of your exercise, your problem, your business. And if we can teach failing as a learning in the schooling system, that adds immense value. So I always tell my son and other students कि आपने कुछ किया और वो गलत हो गया, अभी आप वही गलती दोबारा करोगे तो बेकार बात है, आप नई गलती करो. So that once you do new mistakes, that old mistakes get eradicated and turned into a learning. कि अभी हम सीख गए. सेम एग्जाम्पल ऑफ थॉमस सल्फाइड एडिशन, कि वो 1,000 वेज उनको आते थे बल्ब नहीं बनाने के, जिस बार बन गया उस बार बन गया. सो दैट पॉइंट इज सुपर सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट यू शुड बी रेडी टू टेक लीप ऑफ फेथ. होगा, कर लेंगे. Not to get into that downward spiral. If we keep on questioning our ideas itself, our subconscious will give it enough reason that ये नहीं हो सकता. So if we talk positive, think how to do it, do a mistake, note it down कि ये गलती है, अगली बार नहीं करना, अगली बार नहीं करना, अगली बार नहीं करना. तो in due course of time you grow. Once you have enough learning, so that is a planted seed in your personality. Now you can become entrepreneur after 10 years of job, 15 years of job, 20 years of job. But once that you have seen that light, you have a glimpse of that other side where grass is actually greener. So that consistency of the effort, the motivation, the intrinsic value which you have seen will keep you enough motivated. Because once you are in
Right.
the job, you get dull by the noon and dead by the evening. Then again you take your dead body to the office next morning. But once you are motivated enough, so you see that I have to do this to fulfill my entrepreneurship journey, which will happen 3 years later, 5 years later, 7 years later. So your day to day working becomes fuel to reach that entrepreneurship journey.
Success, in your words, isn't just about creating wealth, but about impact. What legacy do you hope to leave behind, Doctor?
I would, I am a little simple person in that context. So my piece, my legacy would be, I'm really, everybody should, but not everybody is, indebted to my father. He is a fantastic person. He has been guiding force in my life in every aspect. So
Ji.
I can give you a simpler example, that once I come back from my office, so he can read me like a open book, that what has gone good, bad, ugly in the day. And like in earlier questions we discussed, how should we find a mentor? I don't find a mentor. I just walk in back once in evening. I'm back at my home. I have a full time mentor who knows all good and bad about me. So he has enough knowledge. So I go to him after curating couple of solutions कि पिताजी ये समस्या थी, ये उसके 4 समाधान है. So he analyzes all those 4, gives his 5, then we discuss all those things and we find out a solution. This is a doable solution. It might fail, it might not fail, it might work, it might not work. But then again, as we just understood, it is the learning curve. So my legacy would be, I am open. I help a lot and lot of people. Guide, same. I give opinion. I give suggestion. I give advice. Anybody who takes in that format. So any learning what I have, I am an open book. Anything what I can pass on, which my grandfather gave to father, father gave to me. That knowledge is an open book. I am always available. So that is my legacy. And else everything what we are doing, knowledge gaining, doing system is always the part of legacy.
Great. Thank you so much for that answer. Looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future of entrepreneurship in India?
The future of entrepreneurship in India is fantastic, but as our TiE program is helping, that we should give enough understanding about entrepreneurship and business in the school level, and always and always sincerely include parents in the counseling system, because
Hmm.
normally, by virtue of India as a multi-thousand years old civilization, but the system what broke India was Mughal civilization, Mughal rule, and British rule. So they made in simpler understanding that Babu system is good. अभी बाबू जो वर्ड भी बना था टाइम पे वही था बाबू साहब. अभी बाबू साहब का जो वर्ड है वो आपको जॉब में उलझा रहा है. सो वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट एजुकेशन सिस्टम इज ऑल्सो डूइंग सिमिलर थिंग. दे आर मेकिंग यू एन
जी.
ऑब्जेक्ट टू वर्क इन द सिस्टम. अभी आपको अगर हम लोग कॉलेज की एनालिसिस करें तो वन पार्ट ऑफ एजुकेशन सिस्टम इज टू मेक यू सिट 8 hours इन अ रूम, do given instruction, they tell you what to understand, how to think, do the work, complete the work, give exam, pass on the system. So they are kind of training our mind. It is like a rearing of animal what is happening, because they are not giving you enough space to think. So the parents it is the onus of the parents to understand that in certain capacities schooling is also hazard or blockade in natural growth of your kid. So it is your responsibility.
Hmm.
Education is super important. I'm not denying the importance of education, but depending just on the schooling education and not getting any practical exposure is the disaster what is happening. So if we can do something of that sort in which we can add some those counseling kind of thing at school level, giving them exposure. So most beautiful thing of this TIU program and TY is I feel that we give enough exposure or playground to the students in their academic year. So in the schooling 4 years, in graduation, post graduation, including 5 and 4, 9 years spread is there, which you can do your education also, experiment with your entrepreneurship also. And if you feel you have the passion, even if you have 10% of ability to become entrepreneur, I will suggest should surely exploit. And this thing, if it happens in India, and it is already happening with the so much availability of mentorship, guidance, government system, infrastructure, incubation center, uh, different organization, different schemes, things are happening. So this night is still young, anything can happen.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for your time today. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and I'm positive and very, very sure that my audience is going to love some of the concepts that you gave about how to find a mentor, opinion, suggestions, advice, the time from of 18 hours a day, and how to put everything in 18 hours and see rather than setting it up for a quarterly, semi-annual and annual thing, and then every January again resetting it that, hey, this is the resolution for this year, and nothing gets accomplished by the end of the year. So thank you so much for your time, and hope to see you soon in my next visit to India, or when you plan to come here to the US. Thank you
Pleasure,
so much for your time.
pleasure is all mine, and these are also ways to add values to the students, to the entrepreneurs in and across. So the knowledge sharing is very important. तो इंडिया में तो वैसे ही श्रुति सिस्टम था जो आदमी बोल के एक दूसरे को बताता था. रिटन शेयरिंग ऑफ नॉलेज वाज नॉट देयर. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द oldest way of teaching which you have taken into the latest technology. It is a combination. So learning by hearing with the latest technology, it is, I think it is bridging gaps of about 10,000 years.
Right. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.